25th of December, Rabbi Furst, Mishna Berura.
Good to see you again. Okay. Okay, good morning again. This is Rabbi Shlomo Furst, Yeshiva Samanach Yerushalayim Zoom. This is our second here in the morning. We're learning Mr. Berura, Reish Ayin Zayin. Taf Reish Ayin Zayin. Sif Dalid. Last Sif and Taf Reish Ayin Zayin.
Taf Reish Ayin Zayin.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so Taf Reish Ayin Zayin.
What was the step again?
Doing Dalid.
Dalid?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so it says, let's see. Anotar biyom hashmini min hashemen hatzarik l'shiur hadlaka oselo medura v'sorfo bifnei atzmo. Okay, so let's see. Anotar.
I know, so the extra, the leftover.
Oh, so the leftovers, on the 8th day of Hanukkah, of the shemen.
Right.
Of the oil. Let's see, so hatzarik l'shiur, one needs to measure it for the lighting?
That the leftover oil from the 8th day, and it's still needed for the shir hadlaka, meaning it was again the basic the time period of the burning of the oil is a half an hour after Tzeitzah Chachavim. So if there was oil left over that was set aside to be used during that time period or for that time period, so that's going to be shemen, like just like we say haneras halal kodesh heim, right? So the oil also is kodesh, and it takes on a special prohibition of not using it. So the question is, what do you do with the oils that are left over? On the 8th day, it's particularly poignant, the problem, because you can't use it the next day. If you had leftover oil any of the previous days, so you could have used it again for the coming days burning. But now on the 8th day, you don't have another chance to burn any Hanukkah oil until next year. And as we'll see in the Mishna Berura, they didn't want you keeping around Hanukkah oil till next year, because you might come to make a mistake and use it by mistake.
I don't see how you could possibly know what the shear is.
Yeah, that's let's say you need a quarter of an ounce of oil for half an hour's burning time.
But how do you know that? How do you know how much oil you need? Because each day you put a new wick in. The wicks are different thicknesses. And
that's not going to make such a great difference in the burning time.
I know it takes about 2 hours to burn the oil that I put in the cup.
Right. So you're putting in too much oil. You don't need that much oil, right?
Right. So part of that is not part of the shear, right?
Exactly. So
if I have left over, some of that is I could use for whatever I want, right?
Yeah. Anything that's left over, which is beyond the time period that you need to burn, so that's permissible, right? The only prohibition is the oil which is there and needing to be used for the actual minimal amount of time that has to be burned, just like the candles themselves, the candles or the light themselves. Theoretically, right? Once you're not supposed to mishtamish with the ore, you're not supposed to use the ore for your own purposes. But after the half-hour burning time, it's really according to the strict letter of the law. You can go ahead and use that light for anything you want. could pick up the menorah and bring it into your kitchen and give you extra light in your kitchen if you need after the half-hour burning time. So I mean, yeah, I mean, we're not so expert in how long it takes to burn these things, because we don't use these things except maybe on Shabbos or once a year on Hanukkah. But you can well imagine those people who this was their sole oil lamps, were their sole source of light. So they would be very expert and knowledgeable in exactly how much oil would burn for how much of a long from how much time it would take. But we're a little bit out of it, so we don't relate to it so well as they used to. But it's easy to tell, because even if you don't know the exact scientific calculations, it's easy to tell, because all you know is if it's burned a half an hour, so anything that's left over is obviously beyond the the minimal time you have to burn for. Okay.
Okay, so Selo Madura. So you make yourself a torch, a fire, I guess, maybe.
So right. So also low Madura, you make Madura is like a large fire. Make a large fire.
Okay.
If they add small.
And burn it.
Right. And you burn it.
Okay, so I have I guess an interesting question. One of my menorot, we get those pre-made candles with the oil in it.
Yeah, the 44 little cups.
Right, 44 cups. And I noticed that in the bottom of the tray, there's oil, not a lot of it, but the other day I saw that one of them was not tightly covered, and you only had half the oil that normally comes in those cups. So now the oil in the tray, do I have to somehow burn that, or can I just discard that?
Right. That can be discarded, because that oil was even though they in the factory, maybe it was somewhere in China, I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
Don't laugh. Everything comes from China. You'd be surprised. There are very few things that don't come from China. Probably tefillin and sifrei Torahs and mezuzahs. Probably the only things that are not made in China. But don't be surprised. So the packaging, when it's packaged for, even though it might say for Hanukkah and this and that, all kinds of things, the intentions of the factory, or even the intentions of the ones who are selling it, and even the intentions of the one who's buying it are not, which they don't make the decision as to whether or not this is going to be considered to be, so to speak, holy oil or not. It's and as a matter of fact, when you really when you get one of these things, or you buy a bottle of oil to put in, let's say you're making your own candles, oil candles, you should say yourself that anything that's left over, meaning let's say you buy a liter worth of oil, and you only used 2/3 of the liter. So at the beginning, when you first purchase it, or when Hanukkah first comes in, you should say anything that's going to be left over is going to be available for my use for any purpose I choose, and it's not going to be set aside. So obviously, any of the oil that's spilled out of the cups in transit or whatever else, that oil was never intended, because it spilled out, to be actually used for the mitzvah. So that there's no necessity no necessity to do anything special with that oil.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's see. Oseh lo medura. So we make it a flame with sorfa if neyatzmo and burn it by itself. Let's see. Share huksa limitzvato. Because it is a mitzvah, I guess.
Well,
It's a
huksa,
mitzvah.
that's the same shorish as the word muksa that you're familiar with on Shabbos. Muksa, right? And huksa, the same shorish there, meaning it's designated for the mitzvah.
Designated.
And muksa on Shabbos means it's designated not to be used on Shabbos.
Uh-huh. Okay, so it was designated for the mitzvah. Im nit'arei b'shemen acher ve'ein shishim levatlo yesh mi she'omer she'ein lahosif alav kidei levatlo. Okay, so if what oil was another type of oil was mixed.
Right. And if it got mixed up, other shemen, which was not set aside for the needs of the burning of that half an hour of the burning of the Hanukkah candles, if other oil got mixed into that oil, ein shishi mevatel. Normally, we say when there's a terubis, a mixture of things, if you have 60 of portions of what's permitted, then against the portion which is forbidden, so the 60 can nullify the forbidden portion. But here we don't say that.
Okay, so here we don't say that.
So in other words, if you have a little bit of oil that's left over, but it's part of the shiur, because the candle went out early, I guess.
Correct, right?
And then you make a mistake and you pour that into your bottle of oil. So the whole bottle of oil now is classified as being batel, and you have to burn it.
It's not. It's classified as being usher, forbidden, and then you have to dispose of it in the way that they're burning it here. Yeah, that's right. Correct.
Let's see. So okay, yesh mi shomer. There are some who say she'ein lahosif alav kidei levato, that you should not add to the mixture to nullify the oil. Forbidden, I guess, this forbidden oil.
Right.
Okay.
Good.
Well,
Okay.
isn't that obvious? There,
No.
yesh mi. There is someone who says that kind of implies that it's a minority.
Yeah, but we'll see in the Mishna Berura, because it's the halacha is a little bit more complicated than it seems at the surface. We'll see why. The Mishna Berura will explain.
Okay.
Let's see, Mr. Brewer, Sifkat and Yud Zion. That'll bring us to Yud Zion.
Okay, Yud Zion. Let's see where we are. I can find it. Yud Zion. Tet Zion. Let's see. Oh, Yud Zion. Hanotar b'yom hashmini. Okay, so you have, I guess, more oil after the 8 days. Divalelot hakodmin imkar yachol lehishtamesh bahem lemitzvat hadlaka b'nei belelot shacharehem. Okay, so let's see. What from the previous nights?
Right. I mean, if there was left over from oil from previous nights,
Okay, Yachol Ishtamesh, one is able to use it for the mitzvah of light candles on other nights.
Right.
Okay. V'im nitarei b'shemen acher, dino de l'kameh. Okay, and if it's mixed with other oil, what the law is explained below?
Yeah, the laws that were explained below will apply to that as well. Meaning, let's say on the third night you had the extra leftover oil on the third night, and that got mixed in with your salad olive oil used for salads, right?
Uh-huh.
So then the same law would apply to the third night's oil that got mixed up with the salad oil, just as it applied to the eighth night. Meaning it would be not bottle, and you couldn't add to it to nullify it. But on the third night you have an option. You can use that salad oil with the Hanuka oil together and use that to burn for the Hanukkah lights. That you would have the option. The problem is on the eighth day, because you're stuck. The next time it's going to be permissible to use such oil is going to be on the Hanukkah that will be coming in a year's time, less a week. So you're not going to have a chance, because we'll see the Mishna Berura won't be able to discuss it now, because I think, let's see, our time is, I think we've just actually gone over time. We'll have to continue this halakha tomorrow, just to get these halakhas tomorrow more.
We'll
Mitzvah
do
Shem.
Yud Chet tomorrow with the Mishnah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right. Very
very
good.
good.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank
Luke.
you.
Thank
All
you.
of us tomorrow, Mitzvah Shem. Have a wonderful day, Mitzvah Shem.
Have a wonderful day, a good Chodesh, and a good Hanukkah.
Amen. Very Shem.
Happy Hanukkah.
Right. Very good.